Good morning, everybody. We are in Judges chapter 12 this morning. Excuse me. Roughly page 268 in the scriptures. Got a relatively quick read this morning, an introduction to Samson, who is a character of note in the Word and a Nazarite from birth. If you've not been following along in Judges with us, feel free to go back in this playlist, or you can just scoop up your own word and read it for yourself, which is pretty much my preferred methodology. So, starting in 12. And the men of Ephraim gathered together and passed over towards Saphon, and said to Yephtah, Yephtah was the king at the time, "Why did you pass over to fight against the children of Ammon, and did not call us to go with you? We are going to burn your house over you with fire." They were pissed. They're like, "Hey man, you guys went to fight the children of Ammon and you didn't call us." And Yephtah said to them, "My people and I were in a great struggle with the children of Ammon, and when I called you, you did not come to save me out of their hands." He's like, "Bro, I tried, but you weren't coming. And I saw that you would not save me, and I took my life into my own hands and went over against the children of Ammon. You weren't coming to save me, so I decided to save myself. And Yahweh gave them into my hands. And why have you come up to me today to fight against me?" I had to save myself, bro. Why are you here? Yephtah then gathered together all the men of Gilead and fought against Ephraim. And the men of Gilead struck Ephraim because they had said, "You Gileadites are fugitives of Ephraim, in the midst of Ephraim, in the midst of Manasseh." They essentially said, "Y'all belong to us. You're inside of our territory, which is inside the larger territory that we're allied with. So, you're fugitives." And Yephtah was like, "Watch this, bro." And Gilead captured the fords of the Jordan that faced Ephraim. And it came to be, when the fugitives from Ephraim said, "Let me pass over, let me cross the river, bro," the men of Gilead said to him, "Are you an Ephraimite?" And if he said no, then they would say to him, "Please say, Shivolet." And he would say, "Shivolet," for he was unable to pronounce it right, just like I am. Then they seized him and slew him at the fords of the Jordan. And at that time there fell 42,000 Ephraimites. So Gilead slaughters 42,000 of their brethren. Now, because of poor leadership, the Israelites have gone from battling the world to battling themselves. May or may not have been a bug in that coffee that I just drank. If there is, I repent, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't a locust. That's okay, though. And Yephtah ruled Israel 6 years. And Yephtah, the Gileadite, died and was buried in one of the cities of Gilead. And after him, Ibstan of Bethlehem ruled Israel. And he came to have 30 sons and 30 daughters. And he sent abroad and brought in 30 daughters for his sons. And he ruled Israel 7 years. He had 30 sons, and rather than pulling 30 daughters-in-law from Israel, he sent abroad foreign influence. Not a good move. And he ruled Israel 7 years. And Ibstan died and was buried at Bethlehem. And after him, Elon the Zebulunite ruled Israel. And he ruled Israel 10 years. And Elon the Zebulunite died and was buried at Ailon in the land of Zebulun. And after him, Abdon, the son of Hillel, the Pirathionite, ruled Israel. And he had 40 sons and 30 grandsons, who rode on 70 young donkeys. And he ruled Israel 8 years. And Abdon, son of Hillel, the Pirathionite, died and was buried at Pirathon in the land of Ephraim, in the mountains of the Amalekites. Homemade gummy bear. 13. And the children of Israel did evil in the eyes of Yahweh. So Yahweh gave them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. And there was a certain man from Sorah, the clan of the Danites, whose name was Manova, and his wife was barren and had not borne. And the messenger of Yahweh appeared to the woman and said to her, See now, you are barren and have not borne, but you shall conceive and you shall bear a son. And now please guard, and do not drink wine or strong drink, and do not eat any unclean food. For look, you are conceiving and bearing a son. And let no razor come upon his head, for the youth is a Nazarite to Elohim from the womb onward. And he shall begin to save Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Begin to save Israel. That's an interesting phrase right there. He'll be involved. He'll be there at the beginning. He will begin to. And the woman came and spoke to her husband, saying, A man, capital M man of Elohim, came to me. This is Yeshua. And his appearance was like the appearance of a messenger of Elohim, like an angel. Very awesome. But I did not ask him where he was from, and he did not declare to me his name. And he said to me, See, you are conceiving and bearing a son, and now drink no wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean food, for the youth is a Nazarite to Elohim from the womb to the day of his death. And Manova prayed to Yahweh and said, O Yahweh, please let the man of Elohim who you sent come to us again and teach us what to do for the youth who is to be born. And Elohim listened to the voice of Manova, and the messenger of Elohim, Yeshua, came to the woman again as she was sitting in the field. But Manova, her husband, was not with her. So he come back to the woman again. And the woman ran hurriedly and informed her husband and said to him, See, he has appeared to me, the man who came the other day. And Manova arose and went after his wife and came to the man. And he said to him, Are you the man who spoke to this woman? And he said, I am. And Manova said, Now, let your words come true. What is to be the rule for the youth's life and his work? And the messenger of Yahweh said to Manova, Let the woman guard all that I had said to her. Let her not eat any food that comes from the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, or eat any unclean food. Let her guard all that which I have commanded her. And Manova said to the messenger of Yahweh, Please let us detain you and prepare a young goat for you. And the messenger of Yahweh said to Manova, Though you detain me, I do not eat your food. But if you offer an ascending offering, offer it to Yahweh. For Manova did not know he was a messenger of Yahweh. It's an angel, man. I ain't hungry. Thanks, though. Thanks for the goat offering. Then Manova said to the messenger of Yahweh, What is your name? When your words come true, then we shall esteem you, we shall glorify you. And the messenger of Yahweh said to him, Why do you ask my name, since it is wondrous? And Manova took the young goat with the grain offering and offered it up on the rock to Yahweh. And he did wondrously while Manova and his wife looked on. And he, capital H, he, the angel, the messenger of Yah, Yeshua, did wondrously while Manova and his wife looked on. Good morning, honey. And it came to be as the flame went up towards the heavens from the slaughter place, that the messenger of Yah went up in the flame of the slaughter place, went up in the flame of the slaughter place. And he did wondrously while Manova and his wife looked on. I have no idea what that means, but whatever it means, it was wondrous. My guess is that ascending offering represents the prayers of the people, right? We know this. Burnt offerings, ascending offerings from the temple. Imagine making a burnt offering with Yeshua there, and he did wondrously with that prayer and that praise ascending to the Father, and then he literally goes up in the flames of the burning offering. That's incredible. And it came to be as the flame went up towards the heavens from the slaughter place, that the messenger of Yahweh went up in the flame of the slaughter place. And Manoah and his wife were watching, and they fell on their faces to the ground. And the messenger of Yahweh did not appear any more to Manoah and his wife. Then Manoah knew that he was a messenger of Yah. And Manoah said to his wife, "We shall certainly die because we have seen Elohim." This goes straight back to Moses. No man shall look upon the face of Yah and live. And they knew what they had seen. But his wife said to him, "If Yahweh had been pleased to put us to death, he would not have accepted an ascending offering and a grain offering from our hands, nor would he have shown us all of this, nor would he have let us hear the like of this." Hear the like of this. I guess did wondrously. I wonder if Yeshua was praying and perhaps singing and praising Elohim. It's an incredible phrase, and he did wondrously. And he did guard to do all the commands, and he did wondrously. So the woman bore a son and called his name Samson. And the child grew, and Yahweh blessed him. And the spirit of Yahweh began to move at Machaneh Dan, between Sorah and Eshtaol. And that is how we get Samson into the world. And what comes next can get a little complicated. And so rather than diving into it now, we're just going to use this as a precursor for telling the story of Samson, which we will get into next week. It's important to understand that Samson is a Nazarite from birth. Not only is he not to take of the vine, nor drink strong drink, or cut the hair of his head, neither is his mom, so that she can conceive to bear him, and that she's to eat clean. It says eat clean food 3 times here. Now remember, at this point, the Israelites are supposed to be keeping Torah. They're supposed to be keeping Leviticus 11. We don't know necessarily that they are, because there's been a lot of foreign corruption and influence, literal altars to Baal at this point. And so she can't conceive, and Yeshua literally comes to her and says, "Eat clean, guard my commands, you will conceive." I know 50 personal stories of like people that I've talked to on the phone or in person, and a couple hundred testimonies we've gotten via email, and contacts of people, women that could not conceive, that had fertility issues, and they just felt convicted to start keeping the Torah, and they did. And as part of that, they started eating clean. Next thing you know, they're pregnant. And it makes me wonder, first of all, it's amazing that the creator of the universe understands these things. He made us. He knows how our bodies work. He says, hey, quit eating garbage, start eating real food, guard my commands, and your body will work the way that it's supposed to work so that you can conceive. That in of itself is incredible. Next from there, it makes me wonder, these children that are being conceived unto Yah, what is his plan for them? Because Samson was mighty. He was a Nazarite from birth. John the Baptist was mighty. He was a Nazarite from birth. How interesting as well that you have this parallel of this woman who cannot conceive, and an angel shows up and boom, pregnant. Now in this case, this messenger, capital M messenger of Yahweh, is Yeshua, but he gives her the appropriate instruction and she conceives. You know, the Immaculate Conception in the New Testament is not the first. There's a long history of the Father interceding in fertility with his people to have his will done. And I don't know that Yeshua was a Nazarite from birth. I mean, we know that his first miracle was to turn water into wine. We don't know that he drank that wine. But we do know, or at least we can read in the Gospels toward the end of his life, right before the end of his life, I believe that he was conducting himself in the ways of a Nazarite. He obviously ate clean. He kept the Torah. We know this because he was a Jew. He kept the Torah. He did not keep the doctrines and dogmas of men. That's the problem he had with the Pharisees, but he kept the Torah. He wore the zitziot. We know this because the woman with the blood issue reaches out and touches them and is healed. He was in the temple on the Sabbath, as was his custom every Sabbath. We can read that in all 4 Gospels. So he was observing the Sabbath. He obviously kept the Levitical feasts, Leviticus 23, because we can read all the time about both Yeshua and his apostles going down to Jerusalem, to celebrate Passover, to celebrate tabernacles, to celebrate the Feast of Unleavened Bread, to celebrate the Feast of First Fruits. We know from Acts chapter 2 that the early church was in one place of one accord on the Feast of Shavuot, First Fruits. No, he was doing all these things. So he was keeping the Torah, he was eating clean. But if you look at the end of his life, let this cup pass from me. I don't think that he was partaking in the vine. I think he was under a Nazarite vow. This is just my opinion. I think he was under a Nazarite vow because he had set himself aside unto the work of Yahweh. And when you find somebody under a vow, that's what it's about. It's about setting yourself aside unto the work of Yahweh. And yeah. Anyway, little intro to Samson there. We'll pick up more with Samson next week. Shalom, y'all.